Shohei Ohtani reveals his plans for the WBC. Will he pitch? Will he participate? Will he hit? We've got an update on Kiké Hernandez, an injury timeline for his return. Also, should the Dodgers re-sign him? Also, Bo Bichette. A little buzz about the Dodgers and Bo Bichette, and also a trade target that no one is talking about that could be a guy the Dodgers consider making a move for this offseason. Also, Hal Steinbrenner, the Yankees, concerned about the Dodgers. Are the Dodgers the new Yankees? That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warren, in a parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series.
Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock.
Monkey magic.
Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone.
Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you have not yet, do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel, the #1 Dodgers show on YouTube, #1 Dodgers podcast. We're doing giveaways on this offseason. Also, it's going to be another wild offseason. It really has not gone crazy so far, but the moves are on the way. The signings are going to eventually be announced, whether that's re-signing your own guys, whether that's some surprise signings. We know that championships are built in the off season, so don't miss anything about your boys in blue. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and also if you want to support every single episode, hit that like button and drop a comment down below. The Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. I asked you guys over on the X. Are the Dodgers what the Yankees used to be? And 84% say yes, while 16% say no. Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner had some comments about the Dodgers' recent success. We'll get to those in a little bit. As you can see, I'm not in the studio. I'm not in my home studio. Todd Lights, who does my intro, the Dodgers PA announcer, says live from Los Angeles. Well, we are not in Los Angeles, in Florida, visiting family. But Dodger baseball, it sleeps for no one. And we've got more shows on the way. We had to do a live out here to get you guys all the latest news, all the latest Dodgers talk you're going to find right here. So we've got lots to get into. Drop some comments. We'll do the 7th inning stretch later. But we've got so much Dodger baseball to get into. So let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
All right, the hottest story in Dodger baseball is, after months of speculation, the Japanese media wanting to know what his response was going to be. Dodgers fans, Dodgers ownership. Dave Roberts did say recently that he would prefer that Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki wouldn't participate in the World Baseball Classic. Of course, he also said that he would support them if they did. Well, we now know that Shohei Ohtani, coming off his second World Series win, coming off his second unanimous MVP, a guy that could use more rest than any player on the planet. Also, I'll add, becoming a girl dad, and he's also Decoy's dad. Lots of work there. Shohei Ohtani is going to participate in the World Baseball Classic. And he made this announcement himself. Shohei Ohtani, he went to his Instagram and he threw out a post, short caption, but it reads, "Thank you to all the Dodgers fans for another great season. I'll train hard and look forward to seeing you all next year. So I first was just like, what is this post? Because it had a graphic saying thank you fans. It was the thank you fans graphic. But this was his announcement that he's going to participate in the World Baseball Classic. Team Samurai, Team Japan is going to try to repeat in 2023. Him versus Mike Trout. I think it was one of the most electric moments in the history of the sport, where Shohei struck out his teammate at the time, Mike Trout, got him with a sweeper off the plate to end the WBC and give them the championship. It was also the pregame speech, too, where Shohei said, hey, we can't idolize these guys. We have to go out and try to beat these guys. Well, Shohei is going to participate. Now, what we don't know yet is if he is going to pitch. And it'll be really interesting to see what the plan is for his pitching. Of course, coming off a second Tommy John surgery, coming off a season that saw some extreme highs on the mound. Also, we saw in Game 7, going on the shortest rest that he had gone for that season, 3 days, that he wasn't the same guy. So, you know they're going to proceed with caution. You know they're going to manage him very carefully. The question is, does he make a star for Team Japan, or is he just used in a secret weapon type of way? In a way where, okay, if it's the clinching championship game and it's a 3-2, do you bring out a 3-2 score? Do you bring him out to face someone in the finale? So I'm sure that it has to be on the table because it means everything there. In Japan, most of the country, over 100 million people, tune in for that game. So you would have to expect that he's willing to do whatever it takes for them to win, just like he's willing to do for the Dodgers. And I know that the organization, they're going to support them 100% and just back them. Hey, we got it. It's your country. It's a WBC. It's great for the game. It's special. And hopefully nothing comes of this. But I will say, I think that people are freaking out a little too much about this. I see people out there saying, oh, hey, we need a three-peat. We can't have any of our guys in the WBC. Hey, they just have played 2 postseasons where you make deep runs and you win a World Series. These guys are going to break down. And sure, is the level of baseball, the level of competition in the WBC going to exceed that of what a typical spring training would be? 100%. But I've got a name for you, and his name is Gavin Lux. And my point is, when Gavin Lux blew out his knee a couple years ago, rounding second base, heading into third, there was no taco at spring training. It's going to go easy. It was the first game. And there's just no guarantees for anything. You can get injured in off-season training. You can get injured during spring training. You can get injured during the regular season. You can get injured in the postseason. You can get injured in the WBC. Edwin Diaz got injured during the WBC in a celebration after the game on the mound. So, look, you just have to go out there and compete. And if it happens, it happens. But you just have to look at this as it's going to be their spring training. It's the spring training for these guys. And the most games you would play, the maximum amount of games that you would play would be 7 games anyway if you make it all the way to the finale. That's the only scenario where you're playing the full allotment of games. And it won't just be the Team Japan guys. It won't just be Shohei, Roki, and Yamamoto. And I have some thoughts on Yamamoto. I have a little bit of a different thought on Yamamoto than I do about Shohei. But you look at the rest of this roster. Freddie Freeman, Team Canada. Will Smith told me, I broke the news on Will Smith last All-Star game during the summer. I asked Will Smith if he wanted to be a part of Team USA, and he said he did. And Mookie Betts, is he going to play for Team USA? Teoscar Hernandez, being on the team representing the Dominican Republic. Blake Snell pitching for the U.S. Tyler Glasnow pitching for the U.S. That's a lot of dudes that are participating. Now, do you put them at more of an injury risk because it's a quick ramp up for high-intensity games? It's possible, But if guys are going to get injured, they're going to get injured. Whether it's spring training, the WBC, view this as a more highly intense spring training, where the positive out of this is, one, if you love baseball, you have to support the WBC. It's great to globalize the game and make this more popular. The 2023 WBC final was electric. It was absolute cinema. It was one of the greatest moments in the sport's history, and it's only going to continue to help popularize this sport. And then the other thing that I think can spin a positive from this is this. This could lead to a hot start for the Dodgers. And we know that any team that's coming off a championship, any team that's going to try to three-peat, they're going to have to work their ways through the dog days of summer, through a hot day in July against the Colorado Rockies. It doesn't have the same feel as a postseason game, as a World Series game against the Blue Jays or the Yankees or the Phillies in the NLDS or the Padres in the NLDS. You're going to have to work through those dog days of summer, but one of the ways to kind of make sure that you're in a good spot, in a good position to at least win your division and possibly go and finish with one of those top seeds and have a bye is put a lot of money in the bank early. And by having these guys, the WBC, having them ramped up, I think that from a rhythm standpoint, you could put themselves in a position where they're in a better spot to start the season, because this team knows it's all about the three-peat. They all know that that's what it's all about. And don't kid yourself. They know they have a chance to do something that's only been done 2 times before in Major League Baseball history, and that's three-peating. What did Dave Roberts say at the championship celebration? He stole a line from Pat Riley. What's better than 2? 3. And what does Tom Brady always say when he's asked what his favorite championship is? The next one. Shohei Ohtani said at the championship parade, I'm already thinking about another ring. What did Mookie Betts say? I want to fill up this whole hand. This organization has... I actually asked Mookie Betts this last week about giving yourself a chance to kind of embrace the championship and reflect on it. And Mookie looked up at me cold in the eye, and Mookie said, I've already turned the page. I've already turned the page. And I think that's very telling about Mookie and about what this organization has in store. But I will say, I do want to talk a little bit about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Because Yoshi, I would say it is a little bit of a different circumstance for me. Because, yeah, look, if a guy wants to pitch for his country, you are never going to question that. Not even for a second. Not even for a second. But with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, even though he's got Yada Sensei, the guy that basically made him feel like he could pitch in Game 7, go out there, throw the bullpen, get ready to go. The thing about Yamamoto that's interesting is he did miss significant time his first season with the shoulder injury, with the rotator cuff. And his contract has provisions in it. It has specific language that details changes to the contract if he does suffer an injury. Now, a quick review of Yamamoto's contract: 12 years, $325 million. The longest, the most lucrative contract for any pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. I think Tarek Skubal, I think he ups that amount when he's a free agent. Who knows? Maybe he gets traded to the Dodgers and the Dodgers give him an extension. That'd be the dream. Scott Boras not going to let that happen. But I think that ultimately Tarek Skubal, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner with the Detroit Tigers, ultimately surpasses that. But the interesting detail in Yoshinobu Yamamoto's contract is this: if Yamamoto has Tommy John surgery or is on the injured list for a right elbow injury for 134 consecutive service days from 2024 to 2029, he would have the right to opt out after the 2031 and 2033 seasons. Wow. 2031, 2033. Can't believe we're already talking about those years, but that is the specific language in the deal. if he avoids Tommy John surgery and doesn't miss that much time, the 134 consecutive service days with an elbow issue during that window, he can opt out after 2029 and 2031. So essentially all this is saying is if he stays fully healthy, if he avoids any type of significant elbow injury, he can opt out after 2029. So that gives you 26, 27, 28, and 2029. That would take him up to those 30, 31 years. And you would either have to give him a new deal. He could explore the market. I'm sure he loves it here. But that's very interesting. And if the first scenario happens too, the Dodgers would gain $10 million in a conditional option for 2036. I know it's kind of nerdy contract stuff, but it's definitely relevant. It really is, because Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he was the one starter for the Dodgers that posted in the regular season, that pitched every single turn that he was asked, essentially, and then came up big in the postseason as well. The regular season, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he was the guy for this rotation. 173 and a third innings of work. He made 30 starts. That's a lot. And he was dominant. 167 ERA plus, a 2.49 ERA. And then the postseason, you look at the workload as well. 6 2/3 innings against the Reds. 4 innings against Philly. 9 against the Brewers. 17 2/3 innings in the World Series alone. So that is a lot of baseball. That is a lot of innings for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And if he's pitching the WBC, that's going to add to big innings as well. You look at that total, you look at that total as a whole. So you got 17, 9, 4, 6. I mean, man, that's well over 30 innings. And you add the 170 plus in the regular season, that's over 200 innings for Yoshinobu Yamamoto in the regular season, the postseason. So ideally, he doesn't pitch if you're thinking about how that impacts the team potentially. But the way that he carries himself, the way that he takes care of his body, like I've said on this show, I think he's going to have the Steph Curry impact on baseball pitchers, where he changes the way that pitchers train, changes the way they go about their business. So it is something to think about, but we know at least that Shohei Ohtani has confirmed he is going to be in the WBC. And last thing I want to say is this is a good thing. As a whole, this is a great thing. And what I mean by that is this, is when you have players participating in the WBC, that means you have great players. And part of the byproduct of having great players is you got to share these guys. You got to share these guys. You got to share them with their national teams. You got to share them with media obligations. You got to share them where PR has to deal with an increased sense of, oh, how many people want to interview them? How many people want to have them going this way and going that way? A bigger problem the Dodgers would be having their players not being in the WBC, right? It's a good thing. It's the mark of a great organization. It's the mark of an organization that has top-end talent all over the place. So my concern level for this, it's really a 4. It's nothing that's significant, just because I think the Dodgers cannot, under any circumstances, have any reporting that has them trying to convince their players not to pitch in the WBC, not to play in the WBC. That would hurt them more than it would harm them. Even if they don't like it, they got to smile and say, hey, we'll be rooting for you guys. We can't wait until you guys come back, and good luck for your countries, right? And hey, you guys can all win a World Series together. You got to beat each other in the WBC. So the Dodgers cannot, under any circumstances, let it get out there. They don't want their guys competing in the WBC. I don't care that they have so much invested in this team. I don't care that they're going for a three-peat. Wrap your arms around them. Tell them that you're rooting for them, and you're going to be rooting for them every step of the way. So that's kind of where they're at with the WBC. All right, switching gears. An update on Kiké Hernandez. So Kiké Hernandez, has been recovering from the elbow injury, and Kiké Hernandez, we know, has mutual interest with the Dodgers. Both parties have reportedly made it pretty clear that they want some form of a reunion. And the question is, when will he be back? And he was on Adam Ottavino's show, Baseball and Coffee, and he gave some details about it. He said, quote, they went in thinking it was going to be an extensor release. And when they went in, they realized I had torn that thing completely off the bone. So it turned out to be an extensor repair. I'll be out for like a month or two next year. So now we know when Kiké Hernandez could return. Now, he did hurt that elbow late May. The numbers were down. The strikeouts were up. He was not the same guy. For the year, he hit 203, had 8 doubles, 10 home runs in 92 games. But after aggravating that elbow injury, after suffering it, he just was not the same player. But he was in the Dodgers lineup for all 17 of their games in the postseason. His double play in Game 6, where he's playing shallow, a little out of position. Dave Roberts told him to be there, and making that read on Barger and doubling up the Blue Jays with Miguel Rojas, that was pivotal. That was key. There's a world where they don't win the World Series without that play. So I still think that this puts them in a position where if he's out the first 2 months, that's almost the perfect scenario anyway, is you want to make sure that Kiké Hernandez is back for the postseason. That's the only thing that you need, is to make sure that he gets enough time during the regular season to help you, whether that's put the pitching helmet on and pitching, whether that's just being a guy to be there for some of the young guys and help develop them. But this gives an opportunity for guys, the Alex Freelands of the world, whoever you may sign potentially that is in left field. If Dalton Rushing is going to get an opportunity in left field, if they're going to put Teoscar back there and Andy Paz in right and trade for another outfielder, this gives them an opportunity to get the lion's share of the plate appearances and the reps early on. So this does not change wanting to bring him back. If anything, I think it helps the Dodgers' cause, because had Kiké been healthy, had Kiké been great throughout the postseason, maybe at that point you're saying to yourself, hey, I want Kiké on my team on a multi-year deal if I'm another organization, because he's helped the Dodgers win twice. And maybe you overpay for Kiké just to get him off the Dodgers because he's got that secret sauce. Now I think that's less likely, and I think that ultimately you see a 1-year deal done, something in the $6 to $6.5 million range, something close to spring training when you can open up that 60-day injury list. Mr. Keektober is going to be back for this team. You have to believe that. He's too important to the locker room, the clubhouse, the dugout. He's too important to just bringing that nasty it factor that he brings, where it could be a big play defensively. And the funny thing, too, is the Andy Paz catch in Game 7. Kiké Hernandez had a 96% probability of making that catch. And instead, Paz, he collides with him and Kiké tumbles down. He didn't even want to look because he thought that the World Series was over and that Andy Paz didn't make that play. And then he gets up and he's smiling and laughing. He still was going to get there. And that kind of tells you about another defensive moment. It could have been a Willie Mays type of catch for Kiké Hernandez, but this team is too close to doing something too special to not have one of the biggest glue guys, one of the best postseason players we've ever had. And also, he should retire as a Dodger. I mean, he's truly a Dodgers legend at this point. I want to see the Banana Man back with this team, and now we know when he can return. He's in the first couple of months of the season, signed to a 1-year deal. And Kiké also talked about on the show that he was on about the moment with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and when Yoshi said that losing is not an option, and how that fired up the group. Here was Kiké talking about Yoshi.
Bro, so like, I think he did 6 years over there. I think that's how it works here. The posting system, either 6 or 7, and he's got his 2 years here. He has won the championship more than half of his years in the big leagues, at the big league level, whether in Japan or in the US. The guy is a winner. He wins everywhere he goes. He won the WBC. Like, the guy is a winner.
Yeah.
And like that quote that just came down there by Carlos, losing is not an option. When he said that shit in the press conference, I was like, I had the goosebumps.
Hell
I was
yeah.
like, oh, baby, talk dirty to me. I freaking love this shit, you know?
Awesome stuff from Kiké Hernandez and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So we're getting Kiké back. I've heard that there's a really good chance that he's back. I mean, the Dodgers do have an opportunity to do whatever they want, and even if you're not happy with it, it's tough to question it. And if they wanted to get younger and they wanted to do something different as a role player, they could certainly go in a different direction. But they know what he brings, and they know that if October rolls around and the dugout's looking stale and no one's coming up making the big catch and making the big hit, they're going to look around, they're going to regret it. And I think that there's some signings where you regret them. There's some signings that you live with just because you say we can find that type of production from someone else. But there's a lot that Kiké brings that doesn't show up on a baseball reference page or a baseball savant page or the back of his baseball card. What he has, it's tough to pinpoint, but you know when you see it, you can feel it. And that's why I expect him to be back in Dodger blue. Now, I do want to throw out some free agency talk on this one, some trade talk on this one. And there's been a little bit of a buzz for Bo Bichette. And if Bo Bichette could be a potential target for the Dodgers this offseason that no one's talking about. Could the Dodgers say, hey, you got Kyle Tucker, hey, you got Cody Bellinger, but is Bo Bichette the free agent option that you have to consider? And I think there's a lot of factors here. One of them is, where do you stand with Mookie Betts? And first question I'll ask Mookie at spring training and whenever I get a chance this offseason, actually I'm going for the winter meetings, we can ask Friedman that too, is, hey, what is the plan for Mookie at shortstop? And if Mookie's open to going back to second base or wherever it is, has he scratched that itch? Has Mookie scratched that shortstop itch where he finished third in the Gold Glove voting? There's no doubt about the fact that he accomplished his mission. I mean, think about this. If I'm Mookie, I'm totally fine if he wants to play shortstop next season, because that might be the way that he truly provides value that is remaining on that contract, is by being an above average shortstop. And if you're Mookie, yeah, you definitely kind of had your moments. You definitely had your moments in there, and you definitely kind of put it out there that you wanted to do this and it was your mission. But what if his last play ever at shortstop for the Dodgers was that 6-3 double play to end it? But what if that was that, and then you're like, okay, no one will ever doubt me again. They said I couldn't do it, I did it, and now I'm going to play a position that might require a lot less day in and day out effort to prepare to play, and then I can focus on getting back to being the hitter that I've been for most of my career. Because even though he had that really nice stretch where he was hitting like an all-star after the standing ovation on August 4th, where Dodgers fans gave him a standing ovation, they yelled Mookie, 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 and after the game, Mookie talked about how important that was for him and how meaningful that was for him, and it really turned his offensive slump around. Wasn't great in the postseason, did have some moments. Of course, his biggest hit was his 2-run hit that scored the Dodgers' first couple of runs there and got him really going in Game 6 of the World Series. But you look at the duration of that contract. He still owed $235 million through 2032. That's a lot of money. You got a lot of time left with Mookie Betts. You got 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 7 seasons. And I think at this point, it's a good opportunity to see what is the plan. Is the plan for you to just be a defensive first shortstop? Is the plan for you to play second base, and then you can focus on the offense. Do you consider going back to the outfield? But as good as his defense has been throughout his career, a 6-time Gold Glover in right field, I think you make the case he's one of the best defenders ever now, because he's done something that's never been done, and that's be above age 30, transition to a position that never sees guys go and excel at that position. Outside of catcher, shortstop's the toughest defensive position. But here's the truth, though. Here's the truth. As good as Mookie's defense has been throughout his career, as good as it's been, if Mookie Betts had just played this level of defense throughout his career and was an average offensive player, or a slightly above average offensive player, he wouldn't sniff the Hall of Fame. He wouldn't. He would not sniff the Hall of Fame. You look at the year he had last year. He had such a strong finish that you got to give him so much credit for finishing the way that he did. Mookie Betts found a way to be a 104 weighted runs created plus player. So he was 4% above league average, had 3.4 WAR. But what makes Mookie Betts a Hall of Famer, what made him special, is his ability to rake, to get doubles, to hit 30-plus home runs and 40-plus doubles. And I want to see Mookie Betts go back to that Mookie. So my number one question is, does defense play a factor, and how do you get back to being that guy? And if he was open to changing positions, I mean, that's pretty interesting to kind of think about what it could mean for Bo Bichette, because Dave Schoenfield of ESPN, he writes, Dodgers second baseman hit 239 and ranked 24th in the majors in OPS. The offense hit just 233 in the postseason and 213 after the wild card round. The Dodgers hit enough home runs, especially in key moments, to win the World Series, but it was the starting rotation that carried them to the title. The offense is getting older, with Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts now in the post-peak stage of their careers. And the money, with a projected 5-year, $130 million contract, Bichette easily fits into the Dodgers' payroll and still leaves them money to sign a closer. So I've seen projections vary pretty significantly for Bo Bichette. Is he someone that is going to get 5 years, 130? At that price, I think you'll see a lot of teams show some interest in him. I think at the $200+ million price, something like 8 years, $200 million, you're probably going to see a lot less interest. But the good news for him is he bounced back big time from a down year in 2024, where he hit just 225, was 30% below league average. 2025, he was outstanding. I mean, when he was out there, he was 34% above league average. The strikeout rate was the lowest of his career. He did have a great walk rate, but it was still close to his career high at 6.4%, a career low chase rate, a career high in contact rates, in balls within the strike zone and pitches off the plate. I mean, he was incredible as a hitter, and the only thing that held him back was the PCL injury that he's had. I mean, he sprained his PCL, and that ended his regular season on September 6th. He didn't play again until the World Series, and he was limping. He was hobbled during the World Series. Did go 8 for 23 in 7 games, had as many walks as strikeouts at 4 each, had that big 3-run home run in Game 7, and I mean, that definitely, I mean, he got picked off. I mean, he just went in there and he was fantastic. So I look at the defensive side of Bo Bichette as the concern. Offense, we know what he can do. He absolutely rakes. Defensively at shortstop, he's had a couple really rough years, to the point where you're almost wondering if a position change is going to happen sooner or later. He was a second baseman with Andre Jimenez playing shortstop in the World Series. But overall, he was a -12 defensive runs saved and a -13 outs above average. So even if it's to be a second baseman, you keep Mookie at short. I think Bo Bichette, like, I would much rather have Bo Bichette than a lot of other guys out there. And I think the fact is there's no top end level free agent infielders that you really want to go after. Right? So if you want to sign Bo Bichette and trade for an outfielder, trade for a piece, whether it be a Jaron Duran, a Abreu, a Buxton, a Cody Bellinger signing, a Kyle Tucker signing. You could consider a Bo Bichette signing, and then you trade for the outfield piece that you need. I think at the end of the day, it makes the most sense for him to go back to the Blue Jays. He's a very popular player. Him and Vladdy have been the guys that have got that franchise back to the World Series. They have not been shy at all about the fact that they want to continue their careers together. So if I'm the Blue Jays and I'm really playing with the big dogs, I highly consider bringing Bo Bichette back, but I would not be against the signing. I will say I want to throw out another sneaky trade target for the Dodgers, a sneaky trade target, and that is for Marlins Kyle Stowers. He's got light Stower power. I interviewed him at the All-Star game. Really, really liked the guy's energy. Wasn't great heading into 2025. Had just 340 plate appearances. Hit 208, 33.8% strikeout rate, a 69 weighted runs created plus. Was not great. And then had this big, massive breakout season. Had a 149 weighted runs created plus. That's fringe. You're getting like 10, 20 points. So, I mean, in the Judge and Ohtani area, you're not going to win MVP with those numbers. But that's high-level all-star production. And an impressive 10.5% walk rate, hit 25 home runs, slightly below average defender in the outfield, but did play left field, right field, and some center field as well. And there was a recent report from Brittany Giroli of The Athletic that the Marlins and him and his representatives were $50 million apart on a contract extension, and they're looking for a deal around $100 million. So $100 million for an all-star outfielder in his pre-prime that allows you to get younger. Hey, if you want to get younger, Kyle Stowers could certainly be an option. So I want to throw that out there. Kyle Stowers as a potential Dodgers trade target, one that no one is talking about, no one is mentioning, but I'm throwing it out there right now. But coming up next, we've got the 7th inning stretch. I've got all of your takes. I'm seeing them throughout the show. Hello, D-Mac. What is up? LA Sports, the city of champions. Yeah, shout out to the LA Sports Report. We'll go live a little later. Like I said, I'm at my dad's pad in Orlando, home of the winter meetings. But before we get to the 7th inning stretch, a word from our sponsors, NordVPN. So I want to tell you a little bit about NordVPN. This is something that I think fans of this show could benefit from. Fans of this show will like. And because you're a Dodgers fan like me, you know there's nothing worse than gearing up for first pitch, and then there's a blackout restriction keeping you from watching the game you paid to see. Let's fix that with today's sponsor, NordVPN. A VPN is a virtual private network, meaning I can change my virtual location with just a few clicks. This masks my true IP address, making it appear that I'm anywhere in the world. NordVPN lets you change your virtual location with just one click, so no matter where you are while traveling to places that aren't available, you can access content from back home. Traveling, hey, this is perfect. Living outside the market, perfect. Or maybe your streaming service decides tonight is the night that you hit one of those annoying blackout messages. NordVPN fixes that. And look, it's not just for streaming. NordVPN keeps your connection secure, your data encrypted, and your online activity private. So whether you're watching highlights, checking stats, or arguing about the starting lineup online, you're protected. And of course, all the classic benefits of a VPN are at your disposal too. The NordVPN threat protection feature that protects you from viruses and malicious malware, and NordVPN account can be used on 10 devices too. So that's another great thing about this. Even better, you can try NordVPN risk-free thanks to their 30-day money-back guarantee, and you get the best discount off your NordVPN plan. Go to https://nordvpn.com/Dodgers. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. Again, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. That's nordvpn.com/Dodgers. Protect yourself online and make sure you never miss a Dodgers game again. Huge thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring today's episode. So shout out to our friends over at NordVPN. Now let's get to the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
All right, let's hit the 7th inning stretch. We've got other team owners just want to get more rich. No Ohtani to the WBC. That is from Comasen. I got it. It works good. All right, Tayo Serrano, what's up? You got the VPN. That's what's up. We got, would you trade Betts for Trout from EV_Warrior? That's a really interesting question. I mean, Trout still owed a ton of money. Trout still has a lot of injury issues. I think that, look, Mookie Betts, he's another guy that, look, he said it himself. We didn't start winning rings until he showed up. And I still think that Trout's been so injury prone. At least Mookie stayed on the field. I think Trout still has the potential to be a great bat, a 30-40% above average bat, but the War God Trout days, are those gone? And the other thing about Trout too is he plays a lot of DH now. And the fact that that DH is completely locked up for the Dodgers, I don't think that is going to happen. I just don't think that you're going to see that the Trout move too. Here's the thing too. I mean, Trout, it doesn't feel like it's his personality to say, hey, I'm going to waive my full no trade clause to go to the Dodgers. I'm not going to do that, right? It just doesn't seem like he would do that because he's got a full no trade clause and he would have to do that. He would have to go to Artie Moreno and then Artie Moreno would have to waive that and then trade him to the Dodgers. Angels fans would absolutely be livid. I've been reading Angels message boards every now and then. Don't ask me why, but he would. They would be absolutely furious. So to think that they would do that, it would be it's so far fetched. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it either too. I think Mookie Betts still has some good years in him, and I think he could be a benefit to this team. I think it would be a big benefit to this team too, just for the fact that he is still productive and versatile at multiple positions. I think that's kind of what you need to see. Okay, this is from Joe Megazzeni. D-Mac, the Japanese pitcher Tatsuya Imai, he said that he did not want to be a Dodger and he wants to take them down. So this is what Imai said specifically. He said, I want to take them down playing together with players like Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Sasaki and others. Of course, it sounds fun, but I think beating a team like that and becoming world champions would be the most valuable thing in my life. So that's what he said. And you can see here, this is an interview with Daisuke Matsuzaka, and you can see him smiling, having fun. And I think it's important to remember that he did say this when he realized that, hey, there's no room for me on this team if everyone's healthy. If Roki Sasaki and Yamamoto and Ohtani are healthy, Blake Snell, Glasnow, Sheehan on the roster, who knows if they add another piece. So I think that this is kind of more of, hey, if the Dodgers actually were the market for a starting pitcher, would he be saying this? No. And he has a chance to do the funniest thing in the world and just sign with the Dodgers at the end of the day. But I think that he realizes his market. If I was him, I wouldn't say that, and I'd be mad if I was his agent that he did say that, because I would use the Dodgers to get a bigger deal for you. But it is going to be bulletin board material whenever they face each other, whether he's on the Cubs or the Mets. Kind of sounds like a Padre. Long flowing hair, hates the Dodgers. Kind of sounds like a Giant. But I'm not mad at him for saying this. I think it's kind of he's got a personality to him, and I will say though, Shohei Yamamoto, Roki, they're going to want to get the best of him, and I think that they might have some fun with this. But a little bulletin board material that you don't want to provide to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I will say that. Okay, let's see what else we got. We have got. We got, can D-Mac share your viewpoints on the CBA? Yeah, I mean, I talked to Scott Boras a couple of weeks ago at the World Series on record, a little bit after the interview. And one thing that he told me was, look, you look at the NBA, you look at the contracts that they're getting, you look at the TV deals they're getting, and they're playing half the games as Major League Baseball is. The players don't even feel that confident that their product is getting top dollar from networks out there. And the league did just get a new deal done. It's a lucrative deal for sure. But the number one thing you need to know about the Players Union is they are the strongest union. They're stronger than the NBA. They're stronger than the NFL. They're not going to back down and concede. Will you see a salary cap? I don't think you'll ever see a true salary cap in Major League Baseball. Could you see a salary floor? Could you see them do what they did in hockey? I think the reason why we're having this conversation is mainly because other teams aren't competitive. And you've got way too many teams like the Rockies and the Pirates and the Reds and the Marlins and teams that are just taking too much of the profits and not putting a competitive team out there that can compete with the Dodgers. Now, well, I think that there is something, and I also talked to Dodgers president Stan Kasten about this last season, during the season, and he said, look, give us the rules, and we're going to operate at our best to whatever rules are in place. And whatever a salary cap has, it's not going to change who the Dodgers hire as scouts, or any type of change of the CBA for that matter, right? I don't think there's going to be a salary cap, but if there's any significant changes that attempt to level the playing field and attempt to make it more difficult for the Dodgers to sign players, the bottom line is, as long as they can sign the players they want and have to pay the penalties, you're going to field the best rosters. But having said that, that doesn't win the World Series. They don't win the World Series without Will Klein, who anyone could have had. They don't win the World Series without Miguel Rojas, who anyone could have. They didn't win the World Series without Kiké Hernandez, who anyone could have had. It's always going to be a game where there's a lot of unpredictable, improbable heroes, and that's not going to change everything. So I don't think we're going to have a lockout. The game is, if it did, it would be criminal on both sides. To take 1 day out of Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani's prime for the growth that this game has experienced, it would be catastrophic and devastating when you look at the landscape of sports in 2025 and moving forward. You have got to put your best product on the field or you're going to lose interest just like that. It's not like it used to be. So I don't think there's going to be a lockout. I think there's going to be some tough conversations for sure. And you might have some form of a standoff, but will we lose a whole season? Will they not have a 162-game season? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that these two sides will figure something out, and hopefully it'll be the owners, the greedy owners that are using their teams for profits and just pinching pennies that will be the ones that are exposed in all this, because that's the truth. And if you support the owners, you're a straight up bootlicker. You really, truly are. I mean, the owners are profiting so incredibly high off this. I mean, look what Artie Moreno bought the Angels for. What, like $200 million, something like that? Or $2 billion. And he's been the worst owner in sports, at least one of them. So I go on this topic for days, but we are running out of time. So let's get to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
Hits the ball to right field. She is gone.
All right, so staying on topic here, thinking of owners, thinking of kind of the direction of this sport, well, Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner was asked if he was concerned about the Dodgers and their dominance over the sport, winning back-to-back World Series titles, and he said, of course it's a concern. Quote, the Dodgers have tremendous resources and they've gotten the job done. That's the big thing. They've played to their potential when they needed to. They have overcome a lot of injuries this year. Again, they got healthy at the right time. I don't know what next year is going to bring, but of course it's always a concern anytime I feel that one team is pulling away from the other 29 or selfishly pulling away from me. He would go on to say, if there's a correlation between spending the most money and winning a championship, I still think it's a weak correlation, sample size of data. But the Dodgers earned every bit of it. They really played up to their potential, especially those last two games. That has to be greatness. That has to happen. And your players have to play up to their potential when they're playing a team as good as the Blue Jays, and you're playing under that kind of pressure in the World Series. Hats off to them. It's not easy to do twice, and they did it in dramatic fashion this time. But again, we'll see what they do next year, and we'll see how it pans out. There's nothing low about my payroll and the Mets payroll. Look where we ended up. Preach. Listen to Hal Steinbrenner. Hal Steinbrenner, the Yankees, speaking facts. Look at the Yankees. Look at the Mets. Look at the Phillies. Look at the Blue Jays. All expensive rosters, and the Dodgers win because, yes, you do have superstars. You have guys like Shohei and Yamamoto who don't end up on other teams because of how good they are. But the dirty thing that no one talks about, the thing that no one gives the Dodgers credit for, is that these players choose to be here. They want to be a part of this organization. They want to chase championships. They want to be in a trusted organization where you know they're committed to winning as many championships as possible. And at the end of the day, they built a culture that wins. And are the Dodgers the new Yankees? In the sense that their roster is stacked, in the sense that they're winning back-to-back titles, in the sense that they are, without question, the number one team in the sport. They are the model franchise that everyone's chasing. That's what the Yankees used to be. I think they're also becoming the Yankees in that it's not just that they're winning, it's who they're winning with, right? Think of those Red Sox teams that won all those championships. Boring. Ratings reflected that. The Giants winning in the even years. Boring. Bumgarner was electric, sure, but it's not like they're winning with the best players in the sport, the true transcendent superstars. I think the link to the Dodgers and the Yankees is they're winning with the superstars of the sport in this day and age of Major League Baseball, and they're not afraid to do whatever it takes to get their guy. So are the Dodgers the new evil empire? Are they ruining baseball? As long as people are saying that, you should be a happy Dodgers fan, because no one was talking about the Dodgers ruining baseball towards the end of the season. No one was talking about the Dodgers being the evil empire and the Yankees of the West at the end of the season. They were calling them the most disappointing roster. A Washington Post writer said they were the most disappointing roster in the regular season. That's what they were saying. This stuff only surfaces when the Dodgers are winning big. And it's different because I think that you have more sustainable ownership in the modern day. And I think, look, Brian Cashman, Friedman's better than Brian Cashman. I think the Guggenheim Group has the potential to be better than what Steinbrenner was doing back in the day. And hey, I like this too. 4-seater. The Yankees lose. So, yeah, the Dodgers are the team the Yankees are chasing now. They are what the Yankees used to be in that, here's the number one thing. If you're a baseball fan and you had one game to go see, one player to go see, would you go see Aaron Judge take 4 or 5 at-bats at Yankee Stadium? Or would you go see Shohei Ohtani on the mound pitching and hitting in the same game? 10 out of 10 people would say Shohei Ohtani. And the Dodgers have passed the Yankees as being the best ticket, the marquee matchup, the game that you go to just so you said, I went to that game and saw that player. Fans coming from Japan, fans coming into LA. What do they want to do? They want to go to the Dodgers game to see Shohei Ohtani. So that's where they passed the Yankees as well. But that is going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Thank you for making this the #1 Dodgers show in the world. And thank you for all the subscribers. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button. Shohei, baby. I see the comment there. 17, baby. Thanks, guys. It's going to be a big year ahead. Got some big interviews coming up after the Thanksgiving week. We back in studio. Got some big guests coming up. Should be exciting. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button for your back-to-back champion, Los Angeles Dodgers. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Join the Discord. Do me a huge favor, subscribe to the LA Sports Report. We're talking Dodger baseball every single episode over there. Got a lot of giveaways. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Yeah, we'll do some more shows. I'm thankful for every single one of you, except Nando, because he's a freak. No, I love Nando. Nando! But see you guys next time. Remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball.